So episode 9, day 1 of shooting's in the tank, and here's what we know about Luke Skywalker. He's back, and he's sharing scenes with 2 characters. Bet you can guess who they are. Stay tuned. Okay, so express.co.uk has released an episode 9 leak from the set at Pinewoods, and they're building a specific set or set pieces for Mark Hamill and Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver. So that's the big leak. It's not so much of a shock because we kind of figured if Luke's in it, obviously he's going to be with Rey and Kylo Ren. In what capacity is unknown. Will they share scenes together, or are they going to have, like one-on-one scenes? It's also unknown whether Luke is going to come back as a Force ghost, or he's going to come back in a flashback scene. And this leads me to kind of what I want to talk about today. The idea of a flashback scene in Star Wars is not an enticing one. We haven't seen that up until the Last Jedi. Rian Johnson introduced the flashback scene. Now we've seen Force visions, and that's done differently, and I like the way that's always been done. You see, first of all, Luke on Dagobah sort of has a Force vision of Vader, in which he fights him, and then it transitions, or the next time we see it is in the Revenge of the Sith, where Anakin has the Force vision of Padme, screaming out in pain. He takes it as though she's dying, but really she's giving birth, which kind of solidifies Yoda's words to saying, the future's unclear, it's always in motion, you can't really trust it, you don't really know what you're seeing, and that kind of was a great example of of Yoda's words. Like, Anakin didn't really know what he was seeing. Luke also has the Force vision of Cloud City, but we don't actually see it. He just tells Yoda about it. So there's been Force visions. Oh, then obviously recently Rey had her Force vision where she touched Luke's lightsaber, took her back to Cloud City, where she was in the corridor of Cloud City, and then saw the Knights of Ren doing whatever they were doing, whether it was the Jedi Temple destruction or something else that we don't know of yet, or something else we won't ever know of because it's just been swept under the rug. There's been several uses of Force visions out there. That's done in a good way. I like that. I hope that's where they go if they're gonna have a scene with Luke that's not a Force ghost scene. I hope they don't do a flashback. There was another concept art that was leaked out, which allegedly showed Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia, and a Han Solo, but I think it has his face kind of shadowed, dropping off Ben Solo, a younger-ish Ben Solo. They're walking down like a catwalk or a catwalk, a ramp, some sort of catwalk, I guess you could say, with their ship in the background, and it's believed that they're dropping. This could be the scene where they were dropping Ben off to Luke. Now we know that they're bringing back Carrie Fisher in previously unused footage. So could that be a scene that was filmed for Force Awakens, where they show Han Solo and Leia dropping off Ben? Maybe that was part of the flashback or the Force vision, or maybe it was something that was going to be a flashback scene that JJ decided not to add into the movie. That would kind of make sense if they were going to use unused footage, and they also, there was the rumor that there was the confirmation that Mark Hamill had shaved his beard at one point a few weeks ago. It was like right before Comic-Con. Could they have used, or could they be using unused footage, and then maybe they maybe Luke wasn't in that scene at all, or maybe he was just in a cloak, because I still think the whole point of Luke was just to show him in the end. You sort of saw him in the first Force vision from behind with the cloak on, and he reached his hand over to touch R2, but you didn't see his face till the last scene. So now that that's all done, could we see Luke's face in that scene? Maybe that's why they had Mark Hamill film a few close-ups prior to, the beginning of the official shooting, where he was clean-shaven, slightly younger looking, where they could drop Ben off to him, and, maybe you are going to see a scene like that. But then if it's done in a flashback way, I just don't like the fact that we'd see Luke in any kind of capacity alive and well. It's just like you killed him off. It was a terrible mistake, but you did it. Own up to it and just go forward. I don't want to see him like doing some great Jedi stuff prior to Force Awakens, because we just know his future. It's like all depressing, it's all downhill, and some people might be totally against this idea and might want to have him back, alive in any capacity. But I just think it would kind of feel like forced fan service, where it's like, but we know he gives up, we know he goes to this island, just becomes a bum, and doesn't do it. I don't know, unless they do it in a TV series like the live action series, which takes place years and years before. I'm okay with that, but in this sequel trilogy, I would just rather see him as a Force ghost, and that's it. It's just too depressing to see him in any other kind of capacity doing some cool stuff and just knowing like, ugh, but you just ruined him in Last Jedi. I know what his future holds. It's just depressing. I'd rather see him as a Force ghost and maybe do something along the lines of what Yoda did in Last Jedi. I mean, if there's one good thing that it's still controversial, but that Rian Johnson might have done, was to introduce the ability to have these Force ghosts interact with the physical world around them, because you saw Yoda bring down lightning. So as iffy as that is, or as iffy with that as I am, if you're gonna do something with Luke and make him have some cool abilities, do it as a Force ghost. Build upon that idea, and make it believable, where Luke can interact with the physical realm, and maybe that's a way to do it. Also, it's unclear if Kylo Ren can even see Force ghosts. We know the old expanded universe, Force ghosts were just for light side users. It was that selfless act that allowed them to transcend into coming back. The Sith or the dark side was not able to achieve this. Now that's EU, which is no longer canon. We don't know from the Disney canon. They haven't really dealt with that yet. So they could change the rules on that. Also, Kylo is not exactly completely dark side. We know he keeps feeling this pull to the light side. So there's wiggle room there where you could still have Kylo, interact with Luke as a Force ghost, and I think you're okay as far as the constructs of what Force ghosts can and can't do, and who they can and can't appear to. So let me know what you guys think. I would love to know your thoughts. Would you be cool with Luke coming back in a not a forced vision, but a flashback scene? Would that be something that interests you? Are you okay with that? Would you prefer him coming back as a Force ghost in the present time of the movie, or are you okay with a Force vision scene, which maybe shows Luke in the past, but through the Force vision perspective? I'd love to know in your comments down below, and I'm sure there'll be much more leaks and news coming out as Episode 9 is now second day into filming. So, stay tuned, and I'll keep it up to date as much as I can with all the latest news. So if you like the video, give it a big thumbs up, and subscribe to see more content, and until next time, lock the door, and hope they don't have blasters.